My name is Matt Hawkins, and I'm a real estate agent here in Fort Wayne. And I'm really excited to share with you guys today about how I see resurgence happening here in Fort Wayne and with our city and with our culture and with what's happening in our downtown area. And so I wanted to highlight just a few things for you, but I wanted to preface it with this. About 10 years ago, I would not have been able to give this speech in honesty. I grew up outside Chicago in the suburbs. I love Chicago. I love the food there a little bit too much. Love the sports and just the culture and rich heritage that that town has. And so I moved here when I was about 20 years old. I've been here for about 15 years. And for the longest time, I really struggled with being from Fort Wayne. Being from, this area, this town here. And my friends and family in Chicago like, why did you move to Fort Wayne? There's nothing going on. They just, go to Applebee's and watch the Comets, on the weekends. And how does that work for you? Because you're used to what's happening here in the city. And so I really struggled with that for a long time. And it's been the past 5 or 10 years that I've really kind of changed my thought process as being not afraid to say I'm proud to be from Fort Wayne. And it's great because the city and what's happening in Allen County is just amazing. The growth, the resurgence of life, the downtown booming, our real estate market being strong. And so I wanted to share with you again just this afternoon a few things that I get excited about personally and why I'm proud to be from Fort Wayne and why I'm proud to be a part of what's happening here in this city. And so I think if you ask everyone that's in here, if you're from Fort Wayne, what makes Fort Wayne special for you? So maybe just think about that. Like, why do you feel proud to be a part of Fort Wayne? And so I did my best to come up with my reason. I'm proud, obviously, for the housing that's affordable. We can live in a nice home that in Chicago I would just not be possible. I could not live in the home that I have in Chicago. I love where our community is heading with pride and with what the neighborhoods are doing. I love the amenities that our city has that is growing, and it's becoming more and more feeling like a bigger city than what we have. And so it's really great to see what's happening in that realm. And also, obviously, our city is super family-oriented. A lot of things to do as a family. The quality of life for young kids and family is just great. And we've been noted by several magazines for that fact that it's a great place to raise a family. And so I have a quote here. We're getting recognition, I'm not sure if you guys recognize this or not, from things like Business Insider magazine, Food and Wine magazine, the Wall Street Journal, about what's happening with our urban renaissance here in Fort Wayne. And so here's a quote from Business Insider. They ranked Fort Wayne the best place to raise a family. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they narrowed it down at the very end. Fort Wayne residents love the city's easy access to both big city amenities, like a thriving nightlife, and family-friendly offerings like the local children's zoo. So they see, hey, we have these great things happening without the big city hassle like traffic and high taxes and stuff like that. So I wanted to cover just for a few minutes about the real estate market as a whole. Like I said, Fort Wayne is getting recognition from places around the country. And according to Realtor.com, we've seen really great strengths in having a strong market here in Fort Wayne. And so in the past year or so, we have seen rankings anywhere from like 11 to down to 4. But what's important here is that we're always consistently at the top of what's happening. And their metrics and their data are pulling from our low days on market. They're noting how many impressions each page gets on their website, and they see just the activity and the excitement that's happening here in Fort Wayne. And if you've been a part of that all the past 2 or 3 years, you've noticed how stressful that can be, but how you can get a great price for your house and how you're competing with others when you're buying. And so it's just really cool to see our town be a part of what's happening on a grand scale. We're ahead of cities like Los Angeles. We're ahead of cities like Denver and Austin and San Jose that see these great, swings in real estate. And so it's really encouraging, and it's great to see that happening here in our own town in Fort Wayne here. I asked another agent kind of what he's excited about. He's been doing this for much longer than I have. He's been practicing real estate for over 30 years. His name is David Graney. And I asked him, I said, hey, what are you most excited about when it comes to the Fort Wayne real estate market and moving forward? And he said this. He said the resurgence and the momentum of the market. Now that sounds like I might have baited him with like, if you can use the word resurgence, that'll make me look really cool because then I can like tie him together and it sounds supernatural. But this was unprodded, nothing was given to him. And that's what he's excited about, to see just the growth and the life and the activity of our market here that's strong. And so I have a few charts here to share with you guys. You might not be able to read the small print on the bottom, but this is a chart that goes back from 2004 on the left there, all the way to 2017. And this chart is showing the volume of sales from those years. And so you can see in 2004, we were about $600 million of total volume. This is in Allen County for residential homes. We dipped down a little bit in the recession in 2008 and 9 through 11. And then I'm going to go to the next one here. It comes all the way up to about $500 million in 2010. And so if you can read back to 2017, we're up to almost $1 billion in total volume of sales and homes in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So it's showing the resurgence, the growth, the momentum that we're seeing here in Fort Wayne. And then the next graph here is going to be the average sales price of a house. Back in 2004, the average sales price was just about $120,000. And so we saw a little dip there, went up a little bit, came back down. And then here it's going to show just the upward trend from 2010 up until 2017. So in 2010, we were right under $120,000 was the average sales price of a house. And last year, we saw that come up to $163,000. So great growth in just 7 years, and seeing our city come around what's happening and the life that's being breathed into our city, I think that kind of reflects that. And so obviously you're wondering, so why is that? Why are we seeing growth in the Fort Wayne market, and why are we seeing growth in what's happening here in Allen County? And so I'm not an economist. I don't have a great, stats on that, but what I can gather from is going to be that we have really great growth when it comes to jobs. Fort Wayne, our unemployment rate is lower than the Indiana average. It's also lower than the U.S. average. So we're seeing some great strides when it comes to that. Obviously, we all know that the cost of living here is low, and so a lot of people can afford to buy a house when they're younger. Millennials can be at one category. We're seeing, obviously, our lower taxes that we have here, property taxes and stuff like that. And we're seeing great manufacturing growth. Fort Wayne, for the longest time, was a manufacturing city, and it still is. And since 2001, we have seen a 20% increase in manufacturing growth here in Northeast Indiana. So it's encouraging. Again, you see that the resurgence, that momentum, that movement forward with our manufacturing, which once was really a part of our city. And so I'm excited about that. But I want to kind of shift now to probably what's more important than just real estate information. I wanted to shift and kind of talk about how I believe and what I get excited about is some of these neighborhoods that are close to downtown that are seeing just a great resurgence and influx of young families and professionals and people that are moving to them. So the first neighborhood I wanted to share about for a few minutes is the 46802 neighborhood. That is going to be downtown, with West Central being kind of a part of that neighborhood. Beautiful old homes. You can see here that beautiful Victorian home. You have urban loft-style apartments and urban homes that are there, just a complete mix of the two. It's just a great place. It's a lot of great activity down there. And in the past 7 years, we've seen a 480% increase in the median sales price of homes in that area. So no doubt, we're all seeing what's happening downtown, and the housing market is strong in that area. And in 2010, This Old House, the PBS show that does renovations and remodeling with older homes, noted that West Central, just that great classic neighborhood, was voted the best old house neighborhood here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so trying to think through, what is fueling that fire? Why is there all of a sudden this great desire to be downtown again? And I kind of highlighted a few things that get me excited. The baseball stadium. If you remember when they started to plan this out, not very many people had very positive hopes for this stadium. They said, why would someone go downtown to watch baseball? Why would they just not go to the Coliseum? And so they put this stadium up, and we're consistently being ranked as one of the greater stadiums for minor league baseball in the country. And we're seeing a lot of people come down that don't even necessarily like baseball, that go down just to hang out, to be a part of what's going on. Maybe you're a Thirsty Thursday person, I'm not sure. But it's a great place to kind of anchor what's happening in downtown. And so you have restaurants pop up, like our farm-to-table restaurant, Tolan, which does a great job at just amazing food. We have coffee houses down there. We have breweries. It's just a great thing that's happening. And like I mentioned, that I'm from Chicago. My family would come visit me, and before you go downtown, there's nothing going on after 4 or 5 in the afternoon. You see, maybe you get a Coney dog or something at Coney Island, but that was really all that was going on. And so every time I bring my parents back or my family back, they see something newer, and there's just this great life that's happening. And so I wanted to give the next neighborhood here, the 05. That's my neighborhood I love, and I'm proud to be a part of that neighborhood. You have the beautiful lakeside park there with the rose gardens. You have just beautiful homes like this home there on West Drive on the lower left on the screen. And then obviously the Forest Park Boulevard, just beautiful, classic, amazing homes with great character and great heritage and history. And so just a good mix of different style of homes that are there. This neighborhood has seen a 30% increase in the median sales price in the past 7 years. And when I'm really interested, because I live there, because I'm a young professional, I'm a young person, I have a family, why are these young families moving here? What is the pull? And so I talked to my neighbor who is a physician. His name's Greg Dowling. He could live probably anywhere in Fort Wayne. He could pick any side of town he wants to live on. He could probably build a beautiful home. And I said, why did you pick this area? Why did you decide to be intentional about being here in the O5? So I'm going to read his quote here real quick. He says, we have loved the development of our North Anthony Corridor, East State Village over the past 5 to 6 years. We hope more local restaurants and businesses will continue to see success and continue to thrive in this area. Between here and downtown, we have awesome developments from Old Crown and Bontai to Acme, Sweet Lou's, and Nick's to now places like Conjure Coffee and Hop River. Our hope is more young families like ours continue to consider the O5 as home. And I think that last part of that is what I want to just latch onto for a minute. That there's a lot of young families and young professionals that are excited about being in the city, close to what's happening downtown. And here's a picture of his beautiful home. That might be why he moved there, because it's a really great, beautiful home on Forest Park. But I really think that he got onto something where the downtown area is seeing growth and revitalization for sure. And these neighborhoods that are very close to this are seeing that happen on a different scale. There's a lot of walkability factors in play. You can walk to a park. You can walk down to Conjure Coffee. The previous guy talked about how his favorite spot is the Friendly Fox. Mine's Conjure, so visit that if you're around. But you can walk to places like this that you don't get sometimes in a subdivision. And so he's noting that these young families want to feel connected. They want to feel like they're a part of something. They can walk, they're in a neighborhood, and they can be a part of something that's going on. And so the next neighborhood is going to be the 46807, or the 07 as they call it. This is going to be, this is going to be down Southwood and near the high school down there. And again, just beautiful homes, beautiful craftsmen and character homes. It's a great neighborhood. This one's seeing really great growth when it comes to the market. They're seeing about a 76% increase in median sales price in the past 7 years. So if you live there, that's good for you. And a lot of young people are wanting to be down that way and be connected to what's happening in that area with the different pubs and coffee houses and restaurants and that kind of stuff. And so I went back to David. I said, hey, are you noticing, people moving to these neighborhoods, and why do you think that is? Just trying to do some research with that. And his buzzword was the personality factor with these homes. And this could apply for anywhere. This could apply for the 05 or the 07 or downtown, but these homes have personality. They're not just clones of each other with a different door. They have charm, they have character, they have quirks, for good and for bad. And one of my friends, I asked her again, just kind of researching, asking her what she thought about her decision to buy a house down that way. And she highlighted close to downtown, right? So she's a part of what's happening in the city. There's a lot of local offerings going on with her area, and then she can walk to stuff with her kids and be a part of what's happening there in the city. And so we're no doubt seeing just this great shift and this great trend to have these neighborhoods that are classic, iconic Fort Wayne neighborhoods see revitalization and growth and some really great things that are happening. So lastly, I wanted to highlight just a few things when it comes to downtown. And like I mentioned earlier, we're seeing a lot of national recognition with different websites and magazines and stuff like that. And Food and Wine magazine said, you've probably already heard the buzz over Indianapolis or Columbus. Now less expected cities like Fort Wayne, Indiana are starting to skew younger and cooler. And so they came out, they noted just some of the hipster hangouts like Conjure, who yesterday was just voted by this magazine the best coffee house in Indiana. So another plug for them. But they're noticing what's happening here, and so it's just a really cool thing. And so no doubt the downtown is really fueling that, all the different developments. And unless you've been just asleep at the wheel or not paying attention, there's so many great developments happening downtown. And so here's a few of them. I'm going to highlight them just really quickly for you, and hopefully we can get excited as a community of what's going on. So this is the riverfront development. This is going to be down on the St. Mary's River off of Superior Street. They have a whole different phases of growth that's happening there, but they're currently in phase 1 building a park and a pavilion, and this is their master plan to see this area just grow and to see restaurants come here and to see some mixed development use and to see coffee houses and all those great things. And so there's life there. I mean, just you can see that at the core of Fort Wayne is the rivers, and we're celebrating life, and we're providing this area on the rivers to celebrate, right? And so just a really cool development. I know in the wintertime they had some cool fire pits, so when we're all freezing, we can go down there and be at a fire pit. The next one is going to be the Skyline Tower, which is right next to the Ash Building. This one's seeing a great facelift, and it's going to be mixed-use development, so you're going to have housing, you're going to have some businesses, you're going to have just a whole host of different things that are happening with retail space, and Ruth Chris Steakhouse is going to be the anchor in the bottom of that building for another restaurant downtown. Then we have the GE Electric Works, and again, this could be a whole talk in itself. Just the history and the heritage of this campus, how it's seen different changes throughout history, now what's happening with it. But there's this great plan, great excitement about what's happening down here. And so again, it's going to be more mixed use. You're going to have residences, you're going to have coffee houses, you're going to have restaurants, you're going to have startups that are down there. You're going to have some educational centers for people with different schools. And so it's just their mission and their idea is going to be based around innovation, energy, and culture when it comes to that campus. And so it's just really cool to see what's happening there. And they're obviously looking for a public and private partnership to make this great, just to be a real blessing for our community and something we can all rally around as Fort Wayne residents. And then lastly, the Landing, which is one of Fort Wayne's original areas. Like that's where the first post office was. And so that's kind of the first central hub of what was happening. And now they're giving everything a facelift. They're remodeling it, more mixed use, more housing. So you're seeing a lot of really cool housing come down to these areas, like different loft spaces and all these different really cool environments to live. And so they're really just being intentional about getting people into Fort Wayne, into downtown where life is happening. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever followed anyone from Fort Wayne Rising. It's a really great Instagram account. I encourage you to check it out. But they're doing an amazing job at highlighting what's happening here in our city. And they've been posting pictures of different construction projects, homes that have been renovated, just life and activity, and just kind of trying to build in a culture of pride in our area. And I asked him, like, what are you most excited about, just kind of in some of the research? And he said that he had met a couple that found his Instagram account from Atlanta. So they moved here from Atlanta. They built a house downtown. And they were excited, and they did that because they saw the life that was happening from an Instagram account. They saw this pride growing, this movement of young people and old people wanting to be intentional about their city and living in Fort Wayne. And so they chose to be a part of what's happening. It's just really exciting to see that. And so, like I said, there's lots to be excited about in Fort Wayne. And we're seeing a real growth in what's happening in our city. And I'm proud to be a part of that. But you have the real estate market, you have these classic neighborhoods, you have the development, but at the core of all that is all of us. We're all a part of that. So I would encourage you, please be intentional about being a part of what's happening here in Fort Wayne, to be excited about the growth that we're seeing, to be a part of what's happening in that realm. So pay attention, be out there, be intentional with that, and it's going to be a great forward step we have with our city. So thank you.